Lagway, intercepted again. Coming down the sideline. Deshaun Spears, touchdown Tigers. And this defense must be confusing Lagway because he's thrown the ball into traffic many times tonight.
And we say good morning to you on a Wednesday afternoon, actually morning, getting ready to be afternoon over here at Pelican Sports TV. Another edition of Tigers Roar. Buddy Songy in the house. Marty Campbell, our outstanding cameraman, and of course the man who is the straw that stirs the drink over here at Pelican Sports Radio and TV, Jonathan Poche, on this Wednesday afternoon. September the 17th, LSU 3-0, still number 3 in the country. And JP, finally, we've been asking for turnovers. We've been asking for big plays on the defense. Deshaun Spears, believe it or not, listen to this stat, folks. He played 9 total plays Saturday night, had 2 INTs. Not only is he SEC Defensive Player of the Week, but he's one of the National Defensive Player of the Week. Great to see number 10 finally have his moment. 5 INTs. And LSU prevails 20-10 over the Florida Gators. JP, a lot of people spicy about the offense, but with that defense, you're going to be in every football game. And this week, you get a chance, hopefully, to get some guys in. Good to see you, JP.
Great to see you, bud, man. Happy to be here on Tigers Roar. Of course, don't forget out there, if you've missed any of Tigers Roar, go check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. All the Tigers Roars are archived for your viewing pleasure. While you're at the page, go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Your support for Tigers Roar, your support for the LSU Tigers, we certainly appreciate it. LSU 3-0, bud, man. It feels great. Now, getting off the season to a good start. Obviously, a lot of question marks heading into this season about that offensive line, and it has worked out very well so far. 0 sacks against Florida last season. Florida sacked us 7 times. Certainly gave him a lot of pressure, a lot of havoc, but the offensive line held strong. Of course, question marks about scoring points. LSU has 5 interceptions for the first time in football history. DBU certainly coming back under year 2 under Coach Blake Baker, and can't give Coach Baker enough credit. This defense flying around, blitzing from all over, getting constant pressure. That timing in the quarterback's head, that certainly gets thrown off. Havoc all in front of his face. Patrick Payton playing like a man possessed. He's in the backfield almost every play. Of course, Jack Pyburn got to play a little offense this past weekend, the jumbo. Got to play some fullback, so lots of contributions from all over the field. You mentioned Deshaun Spears. We'll hear from him later on in this program. I'll also hear from Coach BK. We'll also take you back to the post-game press conference of BK. Got a little spicy, bud, man. He didn't like the first question out of the gate after LSU defeated the Florida Gators 20-10, but it was a great atmosphere in Tiger Stadium. They gave out light-out wristbands, and everybody was into the game. Huge crowd, everybody raucous. It was a great way to start the SEC gauntlet schedule. And now we have Frank Selfo and the Lions from Hammond, America, coming to Baton Rouge this Saturday. 6:45 kickoff. That's going to be on the SEC Network. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but Coach Frank Selfo had a fantastic press conference on Monday to kind of take a little fun shot at Coach BK. So a lot of good stuff on today's program. Happy to be here and happy to have you there.
As always, folks, look, when you assess where LSU is right now, they are a top 5 team. I think they probably should have dropped a couple places. Georgia, to me, is playing a little bit better. They had a big win in overtime against Tennessee. Miami is playing pretty darn well as they took down South Florida, who had beaten Boise State and Florida. As far as the Gators go, they've got one more road game at Miami this weekend, and then they have a gauntlet of a schedule. Most people don't think Billy Napier is going to make it. They were shoving, and actually Jabbar Jalouk, a former New Orleans coach, slapped one of the LSU players in the face. There was a lot of pushing and shoving. In case you missed it, he has been suspended by the league in Florida for 3 games. So it got spicy before the game. Here's Brian Kelly after the game. We'll play off of this as, look, LSU wins 20-10, did not score an offensive touchdown in the second half. They had the pick 6 with Deshaun Spears. And, folks, LSU's only scored 5 offensive touchdowns in 3 games. Nuss only has 3 passing touchdowns. Caden Durham has the other 2 rushing touchdowns. But here we go. We give you a little spice on a Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, right here on Tigers Roar. BK, right after the game and the win, 20-10 over Florida.
Brian in the back, I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
Coach Deshaun Spears, 2 interceptions tonight. It seems like he's worked into a role on an
That's a
important
great question. Thank you.
It seems like he's worked into a role on third downs in particular.
And you know why? Because he's been grinding. He's been grinding. Every single day he comes in and he's looking for an opportunity to get on the field. You're my favorite reporter now.
And, of course, that was Brian Kelly after the first question from Michael Cobble. Everybody in town knows that Cobble is spoiled. Everybody in town knows that LSU fans are spoiled. But, JP, I think there's some wrong on both accounts. Cobbs, after a game like that, and look, Scarborough explained this to me. There are a bunch of cameras and a bunch of people in a small room after the game. And you sometimes want to get your question in. But I think you and I were talking, JP. He probably could have set this thing up a little bit better. LSU gave up 7 sacks to Florida last year and didn't give up any. You probably should have started off with that. But he went right into it, and I'm with Cobble. They've got to run the ball. They've got to call better plays. They've got to be more creative. They've got to trick people. Folks, if you think LSU is going to call plays like that all year long and go undefeated or make it to the playoffs, I question. That being said, I did give the staff at halftime some Manda sausage. I did not realize it was the spicy kind. BK got about 4 bites and then came into the press conference. He needs more of a cooling off period. He said that before. But, JP, with the media, you got stories and deadlines. And so my point is that both guys in this thing, after cooler heads, of course, he apologized to Cobbs. And Cobb's loving all this publicity he's getting. BK did apologize. But your take on this, and I'll follow it up with my 2 cents.
Yeah, BK, but, man, I had a hard time seeing BK's point in this. Yeah, LSU only scored 20 points when they had 5 takeaways, 5 turnovers, not scoring offense touchdown in the second half. With all the wide receivers, the running back, Garrett Nussmeier being talked about as the Heisman, everyone thought the LSU offense was going to be able to move the ball, score more points than it has. Perhaps it wasn't the right time for that question, but it was absolutely a valid question. You have to wonder, what's going on with the run game? Why can't we move the football? Why is LSU struggling to score points? It's a valid question. He even brought up third downs, the lack of conversion against Florida. BK got very defensive, brought up the game against La Tech. And look, it is one game against Florida, a very talented team that was playing very desperate. Look, this team needed a win, bouncing back from a very rough loss that they gave one away at the end to a team that wasn't as good as they were. So they were desperate on Saturday. They wanted to get very physical. They wanted to be a fist fight. They showed before pregame game. They're ready for a fist fight. It got chippy early. It was very physical. Both sides would tell you it was a fist fight the whole game. But BK, I mean, I think you might be a little spoiled, my man. These reporters, I mean, they want to get along with you. They don't want to put you on a hot seat. They love LSU. They love their job. They want to be supportive to the fans, give them everything that they have. They're doing their best to do their job to get their story out. And it was a valid question. And when cooler heads did prevail, BK came back on Monday and said that Mario Kawa had very valid questions, great points on third down. Their lack of ability to run the ball on third and short, which BK spent a lot of time in this press conference on Monday talking about. So all valid points. I do think, with the tough SEC victory, LSU being 3-0, BK was expecting a different kind of first question, and perhaps that would have been the right track, but I don't think it was out of line at all. He had a valid point. LSU should have scored more points, especially with all those takeaways. And moving forward, look, BK says he's going to be better with the media. I hope he is. He comes into a lot of press conferences kind of joking around, being very friendly with these reporters. So hopefully the good back and forth, the working relationship can continue. But I thought BK was truly out of line.
Look, folks, I went to the phone and actually totaled it up. He gave us an opportunity to see a lot of this football team in the fall camp. 13 hours and 15 minutes is the availability that we had. And, JP, I was so excited. I told you they were going to beat Clemson because what they did, folks, is what we all wanted to see they did. And that would be throw the football. Garrett Nussbauer in the first game got rid of the football in 2.2 seconds. You used the bubbles. You used the slants. You used the jailbreaks. You threw the little swing to the back, out the backfield. And then you did have some creative runs. And all of a sudden, after Joe Sloan and LSU got all this accolades and all this patting on the back, guess what's happened the last two games? The head man has taken over and said, we got to run. And so the coach can be, and look, all of us in the media that were out there sweating and trying to get a pulse on this team, we appreciate that availability. 13 hours and 15 minutes, and guess what, Clemson and Dabo, that prick, that wannabe, I know he's won a couple natties, but I'm sick and tired of hearing Dabo, we were one play away from winning the game. You're 1-2, Dabo. Get a reality check. But that being said, JP, I'm a believer that this team, especially with the offensive line, they had a lot of ole action. Ole, folks, is when you try to block and you ole and miss. A lot of bad blocking on Saturday night. They're not going to just line up. I asked this same coach this question that Cabo asked on Thursday. Said, how do you jumpstart the offense, and what do you want the identity of this offense to look like when you get it on all cylinders? And, JP, that's when I knew that there was trouble brewing, because instead of saying we're going to throw it around, we're going to run it, we're going to use it, wide receivers are loaded. Guess how many touchdowns they've got throwing the football? 3. Trey Green in the first game and 2 others. And so I thought this defense was going to be an advantage. Now we're going to have to – this is Charlie Mack. This is Les Miles. And this is conservative offensive play calling. And I hope that they get better at that, because this defense is going to keep them in every game. But I do have a concern, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again on this Wednesday show right here on Tigers Roar. I sat there and watched Nick Saban for years be too conservative on offense, and he finally said, I've got to hand this off. I've got to give it to some of these younger guys. He brought in Brian Daboll, who's the head coach. He brought in Steve Sarkisian, the head coach at Texas. He brought in Lane Kiffin, the head coach at Ole Miss. Joe Sloan's a second-year guy, and he's going to do whatever Brian Kelly tells him to do. Until Brian Kelly realizes he's got to make better plays on third down and inside the red zone and utilize the talent that he's got on this team, I don't see them winning the national championship, JP. I hope he learns. I hope he gets better. But this is an older guy who's won a lot of games, been around 35 years. Got to open it up, Coach. Got to be a little more creative. Got to be a little more unpredictable. And with that, we take a quick time out. Come back with highlights and more on a Wednesday afternoon right here on Tigers Roar. Pelican Sports TV coming to you right back after this.
Designed to take you where you want to go, when you want to go. Get 1.9% financing for 60 months on a new Mazda CX-50. Named an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus Award winner. Choose from over 40 CX-50s right now and save at Team Mazda on Airline.
When I started this practice over 35 years ago, I had one goal: to treat every patient like family. And over the years, I've watched kids grow up in this office, come back as parents, and now I'm seeing their kids in the same chair. That kind of trust, it's not something we take for granted. This isn't just where we do dentistry, it's where we make people feel at home. Frugier Family Dentistry, where you treat it like family. Call or visit FrugierFamilyDentistry.com to schedule.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
And we welcome you back. As always, appreciate our great sponsors. You saw Dr. Frugier, of course, Manda Fine Meats, Greystone, and once again, Treads & Care, Team Honda, Team Toyota, and Team Mazda. And let's get right into some highlights, JP. LSU, Florida, great atmosphere. Here we go, number 18. I'm having the former 18, Matt Malk, on the radio show today. And right out of the gate, JP, nice hit once again by one of those safeties.
Yeah, it's Marcus Cooley had a great game for LSU. Here is a horrible turn of events for LSU. First series on defense. They stopped the game. You see the tackle right here, bud, man. Got to get a handle on what is targeting. Very unfortunate LSU loses Whit Weeks in the first drive of the game.
And by the way, that was not called on the field. That came from Birmingham. Somebody wanted to get Wes Weeks out of the game. And I'll say it again, the SEC officiating office in Birmingham is pond scum and very, very muddy like the Mississippi. Whit Weeks right now could pick up 3 trucks. He's so mad.
Hey, the word seething came to mind, bud, man. He was seething on the sideline, chewing through that mouthpiece like it was gum.
Horrible call. Do you think you'd have called that against Texas, Alabama, Georgia, anybody else? Absolutely horrible call. And like Coach Kelly said, when you are a receiver in a ball carrier, watch him dunk he saw him dunk his head. You can't dunk your head and then be accountable for that. I mean, this is football and tackle football. Anyway, they go down and get a 3-point version out of it.
It gave me the same feeling as when Devin White was ejected second half of Arkansas, the game before Alabama, when it was not necessary at all. It just felt like you were cheated. And here's the first of 5 turnovers right here. Great interception to Sean Spears, his first one of the game.
Look, we've been talking about it, folks. They had 1 takeaway the first 2 games, got 5 in this game, and here we go. Nuss, who was off a little bit in this game, once again, dumps it off, and, of course, as we know, Barry and Brown. Why haven't you seen more Barry and Brown?
Right, Barry and Brown. Nuss was 15 for 27, had 220 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Here you see Damian Ramos tying the game at 3 in the first half.
There's BK, of course, clapping, and then once again we go on defense. And as always, you know that Harold Perkins is going to be harassing DJ Lagway.
Yeah, great pressure all game by this defense, started by Patrick Payton, Harold Perkins, and the like. Here's Nussmeier finding Aaron Anderson over the middle. Aaron Anderson was the top receiver for LSU, 4 catches, 75 yards on the night.
Nuss, once again, loves to throw the football down, and here we go, finally getting you into the end zone with, of course, Xavier Thomas, who was very active all game long. I wanted to see more running, though, with Xavier Thomas and the other 2 guys, but good to see Zero get in the end zone on a little slant.
Yeah, Xavier, 4 catches, 35 yards, and the touchdown you're seeing right now. Didn't have a carry the first time this season in the game, bud, man. But here's Florida. Look, DJ Lagway obviously struggled, 5 interceptions, but this throw was absolutely perfect. Dropped it in a bucket over the cornerback. Tamarcus Cooley had great coverage, but you can't cover a perfect throw.
Yep, that was a great one. And, of course, here is he anticipates it, and once again, another INT. Who was that one, JP?
That was A.J. Halsey, yep.
Yeah, A.J. Halsey with his first pick of the year.
Yeah, big boy, happy to get his hands on the football. Here's Caden Durham trying to kick it outside. BK takes one right here, gets run over.
Yeah.
Weston Davis tangled up with a defender. LSU has to settle for 3 right before halftime. They do take the lead. Right here is 13-10 going into the second half.
And, of course, shutout again. Here we go, another anticipation. And did you hear about Deshaun Spears? 21.5 miles an hour when he got going here. And, of course, no more 40-yard dash. It's all in miles per hour. Great ball game for him, but a great anticipation. He reads it, and it was easy right here. Everybody said Lagway didn't do a great job. You would have thought Lagway would have thrown his body at him to knock him out. But pick 6 and his second INT on the night.
Yeah, National Defensive Player of the Year. Here's a great pass from Nuss to Bauer Sharp. Sharp had 3 catches on 71 yards on the night. Of course, this was his long. I thought it was LSU was going to set up nicely for the score. Unfortunately, didn't get any points. Here's Nussmeier back on offense, buying some time. Here's a bad decision. Throws it late over the middle, intercepted by Florida.
Well, what happened right before that is Juwan Johnson fumbled and the ball went backwards about 20 years, but that's one of those WTF. What the frick are you thinking, Nuss? And here we go. Now you got Cooley with an INT.
Yeah, another interception for LSU. Of course, DJ Lagway so discouraged with that pressure all game in his face. He certainly had his clock speed up in his head. LSU defensive secondary absolutely feeling it. Had a lot of swagger in the second half, bud, man.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Lagway. Once again, throws it up, and there you got the big guy, 6'5", 195, DJ Pickett. I don't know if he's legitimate 6'5", or if he's 6'4.5", but he's the tallest cornerback in LSU history. His first INT is a Tiger.
It was just great to see how fired up everybody on the sidelines, his entire defense was for the true freshman. He has outstanding ball skills, bright future for LSU.
Look, you heard Coach Kelly say you only need one. Well, this is at the end of the game when they have sold out, but Jack Pyburn coming in to lead the way with a little fullback. A little disappointed Caden Durham didn't get on the end zone. I don't think he's 100%, JP. Watch this. Normally Caden Durham, but there you go. Power backfield, and watch 44, Pyburn.
Yeah.
You know Pyburn wanted to get physical against his ex-team.
Yeah, Pyburn and Bauer Sharp both playing the up back right there in the jumbo package. Here's victory formation. Still feeling chippy, bud, man. A lot of pushing and shoving right here at the very end, but LSU does enough. Gets secure the victory. 20-10 will be the final from Baton Rouge.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And look, any win is a good win, but I think that what you're looking at is, JP, you and I talk about it, the defense is going to keep them in every game. Now, look, you mentioned Frank Selfo, in case you missed it. Coach Selfo had a procedure on his face and right next to the nose, and had some bandages on there. And, of course, he opened up his press conference and saying that I'm sure you guys think I'm the guy that asked the question about his offense. But, oh, by the way, thanks, Cabo, because now we're going to have a pissed off and really mad Brian Kelly. Look, you've seen Southeastern. You know what kind of quality. Is this a name that's their score type of game for LSU this weekend?
Well, all you need to know really is Southeastern is going to play hard. Oh, sorry, bud, man. I'm going to the wrong thing. And here we go. We're back at it. Yeah, Southeastern is going to play hard. A lot of Louisiana flavor on that team. Coach Frank Selfo understands this is a team or a game that his players are going to hold very special to their heart, but they're not going out there thinking they're going to win. There's a huge underdog. I believe it will be a name that score kind of game. Obviously, this team was blanked by La Tech first week of the season. This team has gotten better. They just put it on Mississippi Valley State, who beat Southern early in this season. So Southeastern is not a pushover. A lot of these guys from Louisiana, it's going to be the biggest game of their lives to be at LSU playing against the Tigers. So they're going to have some fire, Bud, man, but I just hope everybody comes out healthy. LSU kind of expands that offense, expands the vertical passing game, and gets back on track moving forward.
By the way, in the duration of that press conference, and we'll let you hear more from the Monday press conference, Coach Kelly did say that Garrett Nussmeier has been banged up a little bit. JP, could you tell he hadn't been 100%?
Yeah, we kind of talked about it, Bud, man. The underthrow to Barry and Brown against La Tech, you kind of were like, that was kind of out of characteristic. And all the short dinks and dunks, and Coach Brian Kelly said at fall camp, they were just holding him on a pitch count. I thought that was kind of suspicious. Nussmeier's been through the system before. He's been through off-season training programs before. So held him out late practice in the camp, and then a lot of short action, dinks and dunks, getting the ball out of his hand quick. Half of it, I think, or more than half of it was game plan. But then, yeah, you could absolutely tell his long ball isn't what it should be. So, yeah, hurt his torso, upper body injury, something he's going to work through. Coach BK, you'll hear about it in a little bit, but he said that Nussmeier won't be able to shut it down until after the bye week and Ole Miss game. But, man, why wouldn't you shut it down this week against Southeastern? I don't understand. If he has a problem, give him some extra time to heal. It won't be a close game. LSU should handle business easily, in my opinion. So I'm asking you, why not sit out Nussmeier? Let him start healing this week instead of waiting until that off week.
Well, I got a simple answer. It's because they have a lot of work to do. They are not even close to being on the same page. Nuss, back to that play, has got to remember that you throw it out of bounds or you eat it, but you don't throw it. That was one of those INTs where afterwards he knocks his hands with the helmet, and going like, what am I thinking? That was another major faux pas. Look, folks, if you go back to the way they call plays against Clemson, that's all I want. Throw the football, set up the run with the pass, and get rid of it quicker. The longer Garrett Nussmeier holds on to it, the more problems. Now, give the offensive line a lot of credit. They missed a lot of blocks, but they did not give up a sack. And I've been bragging and talking about all these receivers. Destiny Hill might be back. He's number 2. Nick Anderson had a big catch and a great run to get the first down. Did you see him again? Yep. I don't think he had another target.
Nope.
And Barry and Brown, you've got to get these guys that you paid money in the portal. They didn't come over here to sit and to block. You got to get some guys out in space, and I'm hoping they open it up. And in answer to your question, I think they need to get on the same page. They're not a fine-tuned offense right now. So my best case scenario, JP, play the first half, get up 35-0, then you bring in Michael Van Buren and some of the backups, especially on the O-line. Quick timeout, busy show. We come back with Brian Kelly on a Monday. Also, Tyree Adams, the left tackle, and Deshaun Spears. And we may have, if we have time, a little taste of Kellen Moore and the Saints as they lose a tough one at home to San Francisco. Back with more on a Wednesday edition of Tigers Roar right here on Pelican Sports TV.
Tremonti's has meat, Tremonti's has seafood, Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters, huge wine and liquor selection, beer and all the spices you need, Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats, ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs, 20 flavors of sausage for the grill, daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Few things in life are as valuable as family and peace of mind, especially when it comes to your final arrangements, and that's where Lee Serio can help. His prepaid funeral plans make sure your life will be remembered exactly the way you want it to. With Lee Serio, no detail is too large or too small. Call Lee or his wife Gretchen at 225-315-6329. Let Lee Serio give you and your family the peace of mind you all deserve.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Emphasizing the commitment to customer and passenger safety, Mazda's proud to have received 8 coveted Top Safety Pick Plus awards from the IIHS for 2025, more than any other brand. Come experience Mazda at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
And, of course, we let you hear from BK after the game. Now we're going to go right into it. JP, you want to set it up? Anything here? By the way, big games this weekend. Obviously, Texas A&M had a big win at Notre Dame. Georgia came back to beat Tennessee in overtime. LSU still stays the number 3. You think they're legitimately the number 3 team in the country
I
right
think they're
now?
a top 5 team, but, man, not sure if they're number 3 team right now. Still early. LSU played La Tech in the first 3 games, so still a litmus test out there for the Tigers after this Southeastern game. Obviously, you have Ole Miss, then the bye week. So, to answer your question, how I want to set this up, you got to give BK credit. It takes a big man to apologize when you're wrong. You're the head coach of a major college football program, bringing in millions of dollars every year. Your ego can be what it is. But he did apologize to Kabul. I realized the error in his ways, and it was a legitimate question. Just the emotions are running high. But, man, I don't really understand that the whole emotions running high. Guy's been coaching for 35 years now. He has to feel a little bit of heat that LSU expects to make a playoff run, expects to be in that national championship conversation. Here's BK. The press conference setting up the Southeastern week. He did call it Southeastern, but, man, not Southeast Louisiana, so you got to give him credit for that, too. He's getting better, at least.
All right, folks, we know all about being spoiled in Baton Rouge. We all know all about being spicy. Here's Brian Kelly, once again, Monday, out at LSU.
All right. Before I get to the game in Southeast Louisiana, I want to go back to the press conference after the game. I've texted with Mike and offered my apology to him for the way I handled the questioning. I think it's important to understand that my standards relative to how we work with the media on a day-to-day basis need to be higher. And I take responsibility for that, and I'll be better in the future. And understanding also the way I'm thinking after a game, and we've mentioned this a couple of times in here, the emotions of the game right after it. I haven't watched any film. It's difficult to make those assessments of specifics. And I'm going to defend my team. I'm going to defend my players first and foremost. But having said that, I publicly apologize to Mike, and he's an outstanding reporter. He works hard, and we'll do better moving forward. So I just wanted to address that in the outset. As it relates to the game itself, obviously, it was a great atmosphere. I think our fans did a great job of showing up as we kind of challenged them last week to make that a home field advantage. I thought they really did. And it was not just the wristbands. It was being involved in the game, making it a difficult place to play. And then, in terms of how we played. Look, and I think we're all kind of getting a sense of an identity that our football team is forging, and that is, we had 5 turnovers. And 5 interceptions. I think it's the first time in the history of LSU football that we've had 5 in a game. And we're going to play to that strength. And we did offensively on actually 3 occasions when the analytics said to go for it. I decided to punt the football in that game to play field position, and it came up big for us because it resulted in a score. So, we played a tough opponent. That Florida team was desperate in the way they played. Their defense is stout and physical. And, they're a football team that is difficult to play. And I'm proud of our guys' performance. They overcame early on in the game the loss of their leader on defense. And that's a difficult thing emotionally. And our guys hung in there. Our next man in mantra was on display. I'd always wanted to get all the Weeks boys in the game, and I did. I just didn't get them all at the same time. And that's having the the vision to know that depth is going to be counted on. And Devon Keys came in, played a great game in Witt's absence. He went from 42 plays the week before to 88. And so just to be prepared to step in and do the kind of job he did, I thought was outstanding. Obviously, from an SEC standpoint, Deshaun Spears was named the Defensive SEC Player of the Week, deservingly so. He was really good and has been in our nickel coverage. Read the eyes of the quarterback, stole one, brought it back for a touchdown, and had another interception later. So really, really pleased with his performance. The rest really is the flow of the game. Going back to after watching the film and being able to answer the question from an offensive line standpoint and running the football, where we've got to get better is technically. Our guys are playing hard. They are locked in. We've got to be better in terms of technique. This is a big week for us, in terms of developing the technique and the experience that we have, and still being consistent with running the football. And I was happy with that. Our play calling never put us in a situation where we were so far behind the chains that it became a situation where we put the ball in harm's way. We've got to convert some third down situations. So when we look at this from a bigger picture standpoint, third down conversions are really what we need to do a better job with, third and short in particular. So that's the work that we'll see a lot of moving forward because we're going to be in a number of those situations. So that's Florida. We move on to Southeastern. Look, there's a number of guys on this roster that are going to be playing here in Tiger Stadium with an edge. And what's important for us is to prepare this week with a sense of urgency. Based upon my comments here, there's some things that we've got to get better at. And not just on offense. It's offense, defense, and special teams. So this is an important week for us. Because after this, we get into a gauntlet of games with SEC opponents. So get better this week in practice. Have a sense of urgency. So when we perform on Saturday, we're putting out a great performance. And that, to me, is the most important thing relative to our preparation. Coach Selfo, I've known for a long time. He's an outstanding coach. He's certainly well acquainted with the state of Louisiana. And certainly they're coming off a nice victory this past weekend against Mississippi Valley. Again, they run a couple of quarterbacks. This is an offense that, we're going to need to be one-dimensional. Again, looking to stop the run. And then from a defensive standpoint, they get some really good players. The Proctor kid is an outstanding player, very twitchy. He's a lot like our guy Gooden. He is active, tackles for a loss, and Reno, the linebackers all over the field. So they've got good players. They're going to be excited about this opportunity. We have to work on ourselves this week with that sense of urgency and working on the technical part, the tactical part, so we put a great performance together on Saturday. So we'll open it up to questions.
Following up on two of the things you just talked about with the offense, how do you get better technically up front, as you said, and when third down, what's the approach to try to fix that at this point right now?
Well, our efficiency has been pretty good. I think it's more specific about short yardages. And the short yardages of the year is, as you know, we had a couple of them where we came up right short at the sticks. I think that's just continue to have an emphasis in our week of preparation on short yardage inventory plays, right? Because last year we were going for it on fourth down. That's my whole point. Last year we were taking the analytics and running that as a third and a fourth down play. So if we got to 4th and 1, we were going, But this year I'm playing it a little bit different based upon the strength of our defense. Last year we needed to score more points. Now, as we move forward, we're going to need to do both, right? So I think that's really about how we operate in the week of practice in terms of developing an inventory. These are our plays. This is what we're going to look at in third and short situations. We just have to continue to develop. We're playing a redshirt freshman at right tackle, and we're playing a group of guys that are playing together. Paul hasn't played a ton. Cohen hasn't played a ton. Tyree hasn't played a ton. So these are guys that are still growing and developing. And I said this after the game, I'm bullish on this group. I think they're going to be really good. As we can continue to develop, they're going to be a good group, but we got some work to do.
Coach Garrett Nussmeier, are there some mechanics and things that maybe he's gotten away from that he needs to refine a little bit, or what do you see out of him?
I'll be honest, and I wasn't going to get into this, but with you guys I will. He's been slowed a little bit with a torso injury, and he's fighting through it, and he's getting better. And he's not going to be able to really shut it down until we get to the bye week. And I'm not saying that has had any of his troubles. I think he is a symptom of what I just answered from Wilson in that, we're not ripping it, on 4th down. We're taking some plays away from him as well. And he's done a really good job. I think he managed the run game as well as he has all year. We got to let him get the ball out to the playmakers. That would be more of what has to happen. And then we've got to keep him healthy. That's the most important thing.
You mentioned after the game that you might use more I formation. You don't have a fullback on the roster. So what do you do at fullback?
Well, I mean, when we're fully, loaded relative to our personnel, you can use your tight end in that position. And a lot of times he is today. Matt, the tight end in the NFL really is the fullback. Very few have a fullback on the roster unless he's just a, outstanding special teams player as well. But the point I'm making is we need to get into formational looks that allow us to have the best success in third and short when everybody in the building knows you're going to run the football. And so whether that's a fullback or whether that's two backs in the backfield, whether that's, running the quarterback, all of those things have to be on the table. Pyburn looked really good at fullback. I don't think we're going to change his role to just fullback, but certainly could play on both sides of the ball.
I have a question about the defense.
Yeah.
Just can you kind of clean some things up with Witt? Is he available? And then just elaborate a little bit more on West. And then the rest of that room, how much they did step up and kind of hold the rope there.
Yeah, I think, Witt's situation is kind of what I talked about, right, and had a conversation. That's something that we're going to have to deal with after the season when it comes to rules and things of that nature. We all know, I think we all understand what targeting looks like, but trying to make a play on a runner and he ducks his head and you make a tackle, to throw a guy out of the game for that, obviously you've heard my feelings about it, and I think there's a lot of people that agree. So he'll be back, right? He'll be able to play this weekend. West was a calf injury. I said to our staff in the meeting, to Blake, it was a gastroc injury. And he's a Tulane grad, but he still didn't know what a gastroc was. So I thought that was a good thing for a defensive coordinator not to know that. But anyway, it's a strain. So it's the same thing, right? Is it a first degree, second degree? It just depends on how he responds. He'll be back out on the field, whether he's ready to go. I think we've listed him as questionable. We don't have to do that, obviously, because it's not an SEC. But I think he's questionable. We'll see how it goes during the week. And finally, I'm sorry. Look, I'm piling on, right, to your question. But you mentioned about depth, right? And I want to mention him again. Devon Key's coming in. Tylen Singleton coming in. Those guys had to step up for us in a big moment. We got a lot going on. We're calling blitzes, simulated pressures, and those kids did a really nice job.
And by the way, Devon Keys is number 42. He's a sophomore from Aledo, Texas, and has done a great job. Also had the pick six in the bowl game. You might remember him. And, of course, look, me and JP and Marty are all talking about the defense, but you got to get some semblance of confidence with play calling and getting us fixed. We'll come back and take a break from my great sponsors right here on a Wednesday edition of Tigers Roar. We'll chop it up again with more right here on Pelican Sports TV. Hope everybody doing well. Don't forget 6:45 this weekend with LSU and Southeastern back after this on Tigers Roar.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
Designed to take you where you want to go, when you want to go. Get 1.9% financing for 60 months on a new Mazda CX-50. Named an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus Award winner. Choose from over 40 CX-50s right now and save at Team Mazda on Airline.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
All right, we welcome you back here on another edition of Tigers Roar. Don't forget, in case you missed it, JP, LSU Ole Miss at 2:30, and that rivalry, a lot of our older viewers will remember that was a great rivalry. Already a little spicy. They are not letting the LSU band get on the field and perform. I can understand that, but it's going to be a spicy ball game. And, of course, Lane Kiffin against Blake Baker. What a great matchup. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So 6:45 this weekend, SEC Network, 2:30. Of course, the last weekend in September, LSU at Ole Miss on ABC. Deshaun Spears and Tyree Adams, a little taste of defense and a little taste of offensive line. JP, we've been waiting for number 10 for the light to go on. Good to see this kid finally have the light go on. Only 9 plays, but he was in on a lot of tackles with 2 INTs.
Yeah, I think he's just waiting for his opportunity to shine, and obviously it takes a lot of unselfish players to keep this whole team rolling. And the defense is obviously loaded with talent. So when your number's called, you got to be ready to go out there and make a play, and he certainly did just that. 2 INTs, had the pick 6, National Defensive Player of the Year, and of course the SEC Defensive Back of the Week. Here is Deshaun Spears and Tyree Adams right here on Tigers Roar.
It was amazing, honestly. You know, my people being able to come to the game. My dad wasn't; he was out of town right now. But him watching it and then calling me immediately after I was done doing media, he was just real excited for me, and all my close friends and my teammates just excited for me.
After your performance Saturday night, kind of an overnight sensation in the college football world, just did you feel like that kind of performance was only a matter of time before you really broke loose and had a performance like that?
Yeah, I'll say most definitely, you know, just hunkering down and, you know, just doing everything I was supposed to do throughout the week. And then I know my moment will come, and it did Saturday, so.
We heard about, you know, DJ Pickett, a true freshman. We're trying to see the greatness now, but what have you seen him through camp, and how is he playing next to him?
Honestly, I say he's phenomenal. You know, a lot of freshmen come in. You know, they learn just now learning the ropes. But when he was out there, you know, he looks like he's been there before, and that's really what we like out of him. So.
It seems like the secondary is kind of taking a 180 from last year. You guys playing lights out. Just what do you think it took to get to this point, throughout the offseason and stuff?
I'd probably say probably belief, just believing in one another, being our brother's keeper, and just knowing that the guy beside you is going to do their job, and that you're supposed to do your job, do your 111 as well. So.
Yeah, you're on the team a year ago, but you're still a young guy, and you guys bring in DeMarcus Cooley, A.J. Halsey in the offseason. What's it been like kind of learning under those guys, some veteran players?
I'd probably say it's just an opportunity you got to take advantage of, and, obviously they're the older guys, like you said, and just learning from them as much as I can.
Do you feel like the defense is developing a reputation where opposing offenses won't be so eager to attack you, and what does that do for you as a defense?
I'll probably just say that we are building that identity of that we want of, that physical defense that LSU been had, and that DBU mindset that in the secondary, and that's just what we try and show every Saturday, no matter who our opponent is. So.
Did you grow up, I guess, watching DBU from, back in the day?
Yeah.
How do you think, this defense and just the growth that y'all had can be in that same conversation with, those awesome DBs in the past?
I'll probably say just everybody, from the corners and the DBs to, even the linebackers and then the front line as well can all be in that conversation just because of who we are and our identity.
Really, the crowd is just really just second to none. We feed off them, they feed off us, they give us energy, and I feel like things got chippy in the beginning, but we had to come back in the locker room and kind of come back to our optimal zone, and just the standard that we bring and then the energy that we get from the fans, that's how we was able to overcome just everything that happened.
Tyree, just what kind of growth have you seen from this offensive line, since you guys started camp? I know there were competitions going on during camp. Just from where y'all started to where y'all are now, what is your assessment?
For me, it's kind of just unity. We trust each other, and each and every day we're coming together as one and battling as one, not just on the field but off the field as well, dealing with class, dealing with just our schedule, film. So really just the unity and the trust that we have within each other.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off of that, you guys didn't allow a sack against a good Florida defense. What really worked in that game for you guys?
For us, it was really Coach Brad Davis, Adam Kleffner, and Ryan Alexander. Really just trusting in what they teach us, and also our technique. And I feel like the physicality side as well, it kind of brought and it kind of just showed out that Saturday.
Yeah, speaking of y'all's performance against Florida, Braylon Moore came in that game a little bit banged up and played really well. What does he mean for you guys on that offensive line? Like, I know it's his first year here, but he's a veteran guy at that center spot.
I feel like he brings everything, really just like leadership, toughness. As you can see, he kind of was banged up with an ankle injury, but actually just persevering and overcoming just the ankle injury and just showing that he means more to this team than just anything. That means a lot. And I feel like he just brings everything to the table, and he always gives his all.
Tyree, what's your relationship like with Garrett Nussmeier? I mean, offensive lineman's quarterback's best friend. Just what is y'all relationship like?
It's super close. I'm not even gonna lie. We love Nuss. And y'all can see each and every Saturday just by the way we battle for him. And every time, either if he's down or he's up, we're always with him no matter what.
Tyree, what are you kind of noticing about how opposing defenses are game planning or scheming against you guys so far?
For us, they really want to bring it to us just because we're physical. And the key to the game is really just trying to out-physical one another, because whoever the more physical team is the team who's going to win.
We see it on the wall every week. It's 1-0, right? It's put last week behind you, but you guys are coming off of a big-time win, electric environment, first SEC game. How do you refocus going into this game against Southeastern?
Really just trusting in just our scheme and then trusting in our technique. And like you just said, just put that game behind us, because each and every week a team is here just to beat us. They're not worrying about what happened last week or what's going to happen next week. They're worrying about now, so that's what we're going to do as well.
Kudos to both of those young men. Deshaun Spears, number 10, Tyree Adams, number 71. JP, I gotta give props to that young man. He's filling the shoes of Will Campbell, who is a first-round pick, number 4 overall with the New England Patriots, and doing a good job, by the way, at the next level. but hadn't really seen it. Weston Davis, we were talking about this as a 5-star, a redshirt freshman. He's given up a couple of plays, but he's coming on. And, of course, Josh Thompson and Braylon Moore. Braylon Moore played even though he was not 100%. And then, of course, Spears. Spears would be starting, except you have Cooley and A.J. Halsey. So kudos to both of those young men.
Yeah, Bud, man, I thought you hit the nail on the head. Deshaun Spears would be starting on most of the programs, but you bring in 2 veteran guys in Halsey and Cooley, who obviously have made a huge difference for this defense, not only tackling, everybody's on the same page, communication is a whole lot better, not really too many blown coverages. LSU defense keeping the ball in front of them, letting that defensive front get after the quarterback, calling some exotic pressures. Coach Blake Baker obviously has the talent around him to really run his scheme, and it's been fun to watch so far, Bud, man.
All right, folks, the Saints had a chance but couldn't corral the football and control it. They had a chance to come back and beat the 49ers, but Jawan Johnson couldn't bring it in. And the same thing with Chris Olave. He was his best tackler. He's leading the Saints on tackles. He tackles himself almost every time he catches the ball. Here's Kellen Moore giving you a quick snippet of the first 2 games in last week's loss to San Francisco in the Dome.
All right, talk through the one medical thing that came up. Vernon Broughton, he had a significant hip injury, and so it'll be an extended period of time. We'll get the full timeline shortly, but obviously, tough one for him just because I felt like he played some really good football yesterday. It was his first time of action in the regular season. I felt like he did some good stuff. That'll be a bummer for him. He'll get better, moving forward. Other than that, obviously we have a number of maintenance guys that we'll just kind of see as this week progresses, and we'll just kind of get those guys healthy and ready to go. Yeah, I think like all these guys, you go through a game and you're sore and you're tired, and so there's a maintenance thing that goes through that, and we'll just see how this week progresses.
Was the Rock injury similar to what happened with Blackman's, where it was something that was kind of realized later on, like, oh, that's not soreness, that's an injury, or were you?
I think a little bit, yeah. He was not on the initial medical report coming out of the game, right after the game for myself, and so I think it's something that kind of, once the adrenaline wears off, you start identifying something that's not right.
Will he go in IR this week?
Most likely, yeah. We'll clarify that soon. Don't know the exact answer to that yet. So I know they're finalized. They did all the MRIs and everything, all the tests today, and so they'll figure out an action plan moving forward. Certainly tomorrow we'll have a really clear picture.
Has anything come up just in terms of being able to go back and look over the tape? Anything new come up for you in terms of your observation of Spence's game yesterday?
Thought Spence, it took him a little bit to settle in. We had the big play to Shaheed. It took a few plays, kind of started off a little bit slow. But I thought once he got settled in there, he played really decisive. And so, certainly there's going to be some missed ops here and there. But love the way he battled. He made some critical plays with his feet and some third downs and fourth and 1 as well. I think he's certainly.
All right, wish we had more time. We'll do it again next week as we get you ready for LSU Ole Miss. Once again, LSU Southeastern, 6:45 on the SEC Network. Saints again, let's see if they can get a victory. Have a great weekend. See you next week, everybody.